Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Piccadilly for this mini celebration of being on YouTube for a whole year. I can barely believe it. February 2019 was when I started this, and it was after quite a bit of dithering whether to or not to, but some brilliant advice from a number of other YouTubers as well. That's including Graham Falston, Susanna, Jason from Barnabas Junction, and a few others as well. So big thank you to all those people who gave me some advice, and I haven't looked back since doing it. You know, it's one of the best things I've done, and I love it. I love meeting all of you face to face. I love talking with you on the comments as well. So thank you for everybody. And I'm almost at 1,800 subscribers at the moment as well. So a massive thank you to everybody for following along the journey. So that's a big plus as well. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut to the original very first video that I posted on YouTube. And I must say I'm going to heavily edit that video because there's a lot of rambling and waffling in that. And the whole idea of showing it is to give you an idea of what the layout was like when I first started. We'll come back afterwards and I'll give you a layout tour of what the layout is like now. I'll speak to you soon. Hello everyone, welcome to Piccadilly. This is my very first YouTube video. So what I thought I'd do was to give you a bit of a tour of the layout and show you what's happened over the last few months. Been on Facebook now for about 3-4 months, posting at least once a week, sometimes twice weekly. But as you can see, over the last few months, I've been building up the layout by quite a substantial amount. So here we go. We'll start off with the main station. As you can see, there it is. It's full 14 platforms, as Manchester Piccadilly is. All right, just start to home in a little bit now. I'll show you some closer details. So as you can see inside there, every single one of those roof struts, if you like, people on the roof, taking along the sides. This was all made out of card and acetate. So you can see that was the side of that was done by taking a photograph of the real station at the side, the bricks, and then turn it into a brick paper. Okay. Now I have been to Manchester, taken lots of photographs. So all these buildings and car park, although squashed up, is actually there. Okay, so there's your police building there, that's that one. Did take quite a while to do this little cage. You get to see that. Focus that bit more for you. There you go. And you've got other little buildings there. I'll show you from the other side. Those porter cabins there. I've forgotten what they actually were, but oh, it's Northern, isn't it? And then I understand here this is the gourmet building where food is made or stored at least or whatever. And then we've got a storage unit at the end there. One of the things I wanted to do was to create a representation of Sheffield Street, which is the road that runs beneath, because those of you who are aware of Manchester, you know that it's stations set above the city. Oops, I'm not giving you a particularly good view of that. And those are representations. Some of them are actually there and others are just sort of taken from the basic idea. I had to overlay this bit, I was rambling somewhat. Now I am holding a torch, but I'm showing you the area I first built, which was Fairfield Street, which runs down the far side of the station. And obviously you've got the main road running through the middle there, and there's a big T-junction at the very far end, and obviously a representation of the buildings. Now following the light here, we've got the area to the underground car park, and also the entrance where the taxis come in and wait. Okay. So cars come in down that little slip road and then round the back and then enter the underground car park. So as we go over to the far side of the layout now, you can see we've got the main running loops and the fiddle yard in the background. So the trains will go round in a double track configuration, following it round. This is my representation of the East Coast Main Line. As you can see, we're coming round to the Fiddle Yard. I don't know what I'm pointing at there, mind, but as you can see there, with only 9 tracks, it's woefully inadequate for the trains we've got now, as you'll see later on. Right, in this section you can see we're looking at the polystyrene risers now, and the original idea was to have the incline going round, follow my finger round, joining up with that piece of polystyrene at the back there, and then again following my finger, coming round, and that goes into the station which I proposed at the time, which later on became New Mills, with the 2 tunnels, and there's a tiny little fiddle yard of 3 tracks in the tunnel, which you'll see later on. Right, so one final pan round back to the station. I'm sorry it is a bit dark in those days. I didn't have any lights whatsoever, and it's amazing really when you look back and you see so many things that just make you cringe, don't you? But that's the way it was back then, even though it was only 12 months ago. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll bring you back up to reality now. Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed seeing what the layout was like way back when. It seems ages ago, doesn't it? But actually, it's just a year, 12 months, not that long at all. But as you can see now, all the canopies are done, and there is, obviously we've got this section of the building done as well, this part of the footbridge. I've still got to build the footbridge inside there, which I will do, and all the steps down, and also populate the platforms with all the seats, the info screens, the poster boards, all that sort of stuff's got to go on, plus people obviously. And coming outside the station, we've got platform canopies to come along each of the platforms. But the biggest thing that I need to perhaps tell some people, many of you already know, but the layout is due to be extended. If I come across, if I bring you back down here, at some point in the future. That is a window, as you could probably guess from the curtains, and the Housing Association are going to come and replace that window at some point this year, I think. Don't know for certain, but there's no point in extending the layout out that way until that's done. So when it is done, all this track, all this, and all along there, and coming round here, all this bit round here, and down here, go round, all that round there will be taken up and modified. All this is coming out as well, this major junction, and the platforms will be extended slightly, and the tracks will be reconfigured so they come down to 4 tracks. 4 tracks will come round here, and then meet up with the baseboard over there, as you can see over there. Okay, so they're the future plans, and when people say to me, are you going to ballast the station? Yes, but there's no point until that extension's been done, because it will mean all these tracks are ripped up and reconfigured, particularly over this side, because the tracks will come in more this way, and so therefore have an impact on these platforms, has an impact on that platform, and so on and so on and so on. And I won't know exactly how it's going to work until nearer the time. But anyway, moving around the layout, this is at the moment my representation of the East Coast Main Line down towards London Euston, and you can see there we've got Transport for Wales train running around there, unbranded obviously, because that's still in the Arriva livery, without the Arriva branding. And we've got the 2 tracks going into the tunnel there and around the back of the baseboard. Incidentally, there's some major work going to be done on that piece of track running around there. I'm not happy with it, and so I'm going to simplify it, but I'll tell you about that in another video. Right, coming round here now towards New Mills. So we've got New Mills Central Station there with the 2 tunnels, and that one's a disused tunnel, and that one goes off towards Sheffield, I think. And obviously the road bridge and the little footbridge. So hopefully, if you're familiar with New Mills Central, you'll recognise some of the features there. All that completely scratch built. I mean, having said that though, that kit was a ratio kit and the signal box was a kit bash more than anything else. Then going up there, we've got a representation of the River Goyt there, and also the road bridge going across into New Mills, and that area over there will be New Mills town eventually. Okay, so coming back round again, you might have noticed that we've got two tracks here, random tracks, and there was a lot of joking about at the time, thinking that kamikaze trains and all the rest of it, but this is going to join up, and then there's going to be another track coming round and looping around here again like that, and it'll go off to two stations, one sort of in this area or maybe around here. I might even utilise a shelf, and there'll be another station in this area, all on the upper level, and coming back round here, both tracks will come round like a big reversing loop, and there'll be a big station just here. I say big, but it'll be a representation of Dinting, which is a Y-shaped station, so the trains can go off left, go one way, or go right and go another way. So that's where we're going with that. Coming round here, this is a more undeveloped area of the layout at the moment, but again, like I said before, once the extension's done, then this will be reconfigured. I've decided I'm going to take these tracks out, or at least if I am going to keep them in, put them in so the crossing comes off here. And of course, they can come right up here then, can't they, if they're going to do that. The points are underneath there at the moment, and it's not working at all because I can't see whether the points have changed properly or not. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Now, we've also got this very long carriage shed, and it's probably an unusual aspect of the layout, and many people think, well, why have you done that? Because, watch carefully, we have a train lift which goes down. So I'm going to take you down because we've got a lower level fiddle yard, and just give you a brief, while the lift is coming down, give you a brief overview of that, because this is there's so many trains, I had to put them somewhere, and the fiddle yard that you saw in the first video is just nowhere close to being big enough. So this area here is going to be expanded. There's going to be another 4 tracks going in here, possibly even some more tracks with smaller sidings. There'll be some more tracks going up over there eventually. But notice when the lift comes to a standstill, the lights will all come on. You notice that? There you go. And that's because when the lift is in the upper position, the fiddle yard is dead, and then it's some micro switches bring everything into place to make the bottom section live again. And the reason for that is because it's easier to see if there's a runaway train on the upper level, on the main layout, whereas if there was a runaway train down here, I wouldn't notice it, and it would come round here, go down there, and then dive off the end into a pitiful death, which is something I obviously didn't want to do. So the idea is that eventually, there were many things happened when I come to the end of this, and I come to the point where I thought I just can't be doing with it anymore. So I've left it for a time being. It will be completed, obviously. And what I want to do at the end here is to have some automatic doors, if I can get it to work. So when the lift comes up, they will lift the doors up so the trains can come out. And then when the lift goes down, the doors will just shut again. And that will be another deterrent if I did have any runaway trains up here, to stop them from obviously plummeting to the death up here as well. Okay, so all this track here is somewhat temporary, but it will get finished, I promise. But I'll just to finish off now, I'll just bring you back to Piccadilly, and I think we'll finish the video there. I hope you've enjoyed it. Another little whistle-stop tour of what the layout is like at the moment. And here's for another 12 months. And we'll do this all again next year and see how much more has changed. Hopefully the extension will be in by then, but we'll see. All right, anyway, take care of yourself and have a good week. Bye-bye for now. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please do like, subscribe and share, not forgetting to click on that little bell to get regular notifications of any videos I upload. Some other videos are appearing on the screen right now which also might take your interest. Thanks once again, and bye for now.